Morning. Thank you, Joanne, for the very lovely presentation. So now it's my role to show you a real-life example of what the global water strategy looks like from a mission perspective from USAID Lebanon specifically and for SO2 specifically. First, meet our local water hero, Mr. Gabi Nasser, who's the Director of Investments at the North Lebanon Water Establishment, what I'm going to refer to as NLWE. NLWE is one of 5 public water utilities in Lebanon that manage water, wastewater, and irrigation. And those public utilities are the USAID Lebanon's government counterparts for implementing water and sanitation programs in Lebanon. Gabi had a challenge with his potable water system in Kalaya in North Lebanon. And very briefly, the challenges were that his system was insufficient and inefficient. There were people that were not still connected to the network, so they weren't receiving public water. And the network had issues. There were pressure irregularities, so not all people were receiving water equally. Actually, those upstream were receiving more water and those downstream were receiving less and sometimes receiving no water at all. There were frequent power outages, and because that system is a combination of a pumping station and elevated water tanks, storage tanks, so when there was no power, there was no water. And the pump station was old, more than 20 years old. It was running some 18 pumps that were off curve, which that means in technical terms, they were consuming lots of power, but delivering less than required. That was so inefficient. And the main transmission line was also old. It was broken and very distant locations, and it was leaking. So that was water lost rather than being supplied to people. And you'd be surprised, in Lebanon, we still don't have volumetric billing. So people subtract to a flat rate per year, and supposedly each house is connected through an orifice that's supposed to deliver a certain quantity of water, and people tamper with that orifice and get all the water that they want and others don't. So those were the challenges that Gabi was facing before USAID came to the rescue. Yes, proudly. So USAID, through the Lebanon Water Project, which was a 6-year project that benefited more than 700,000 people in Lebanon with improved water and sanitation. Through LWP, USAID adopted an area-wide approach, like Jeff has emphasized a couple of moments ago, and what we refer to in the local context in Lebanon as demo areas, where we were demonstrating that when you focus your efforts on an area-wide scale, you get good results. And the approach was twofold. There was a soft approach and an infrastructure support, and they were equally important and complementary. I'm going to start with the infrastructure one. So as I have mentioned, we have installed new networks, connected those that weren't connected yet to the network. We rehabilitated the pumping station. We changed the pumps setup and the configuration, installed new pumps. We constructed this state-of-the-art elevated water tank that included, that had water maintained for, stored for longer periods. And you would notice it has solar power system on it so that it continues to pump the water received from the bottom to the top and keep the tank full while there were power outages. And we installed district and household meters, like we were able to measure now what the water being produced versus the water that's being consumed, and chlorination systems to make sure that the water that's being delivered is safe. And as I said, equally important, we did all the necessary soft interventions that were needed to optimize the efficiency of the system. That included a demand management plan and a quality assurance plan to have a protocol for water quality control, monitoring, and for doing corrective actions. A risk management plan, because we were promoting that NLWE should be operating like a corporate, and they should know their risks and know how to deal with them. And now we're providing them with a crisis response and a management plan, because for those who are following Lebanon's news, there is a very severe financial crisis in Lebanon, and we're helping them deal with that crisis to maintain the bare minimum level of service. We've done testing for the water resources to make sure they're compliant, and equally important, a component that is never to be missed, outreach campaigns to involve the community, to raise awareness and to sensitize them for the use of meters, because that was news to them and they thought that that's something against them. The government is coming to take their money, while actually it's contrary to that. It's something to their benefit. And the results were amazing. So the 25,000 people in that water system have now an improved water supply. It's safe because of the chlorination systems and the water quality assurance plan. There is more water because there is more water in those tanks that in that tank that we have built, and which is almost full most of the times. And 1,000 people had their first time access to water because we have completed the network in that area. And equally important, an LWE's performance improved also. And by the way, we tested that, we quantified that, we did a survey, and we found out there was a 23% increase in the trust of the services by the consumers in that region. Their non-revenue water reduced 15%, their technical losses reduced 10%, and the new pump station is saving now 5,000 kilowatt hours a day because of the new configuration. Just to put things in context, in Lebanon, 5,000 kilowatt a day equals the use of 10 households a month. So you can imagine how much power was reduced because of that intervention. And all of these can be summed up that the NLWE now is more climate resilient because they have reduced their losses. There's reduction in non-revenue water. There is awareness among the community. There are volumetric billing. So they're more ready to deal with years of short rainfall and incidents of less availability of water. By the words of Mr. Gabi himself, the rehabilitation works were crucial to ensure an efficient water distribution. And that's music to our ears when we hear it from them when they use these terms, efficient water distribution. And LWP showed that we have non-revenue water. They didn't know before because they had no meters. They didn't know how much they're supplying, nor did they know how much the consumers were using of water. Finally, these are just some random 2 photos of the examples of what we did. This is a water testing equipment that LWP provided, and the one that is dearest to my heart is this one. Is one of those Swiss water festivals that LWP sponsored, where they sensitized people about conservation. And you can see there the mascot of a meter, where we're making it a friendly thing rather than something to be worried about. And thank you and have a good day.